Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Snakebite. We have a ton of sports going on right now and a bunch more that are about to start. We'll be talking about a lot of basketball too, so don't you worry. Let's roll that intro. I mentioned basketball, and we have to start with the women's basketball team who are on a 3-game win streak right now. They've done an excellent job in the last 3 of controlling the pace of play, whether that's speeding it up or slowing it back down. In our most recent episode, we talked about their huge victory over St. Leo at home, where they scored 92 points. They've recently made a trip to West Palm Beach. Scoring wasn't as much of a factor for the whole team, but for a select few, it was a career day. In the trip down to West Palm Beach, the Mocs had to make an arduous journey, getting there at 5:30 for their appointment with the Sailfish, but they left campus at 11:30, got back at 11:30 p.m. So the ladies well-traveled, and they earned that trip as well. They had 49 rebounds in the previous matchup against the West Palm Beach team, and last night they found even more rebounds, getting 42, some of their most rebounds in a game this season and in conference play. The Mocs found ways to execute within the charity stripe as well, finding opportunities at the free throw line, hitting 21 free throws, a season high on 89.7% free throw shooting, also a season high. With that, we saw a lot of success from certain players like Nia Blockton, who had her 3rd career triple-double, 2nd in her career against PBA, all of those coming this season, as well as a career-high 17 points with 11 rebounds, another career high. She had 7 offensive boards, and that's where the Mocs really ate. She found put-back buckets, which contributed to that free throw number. We also saw Monica Ballester be great. The graduate student has continued to grow in her role and now finally broke that 20-point mark for the first time in her collegiate career. If you talk about them, you can't not talk about the rest of the team. Lily Rengard was great. Back-to-back 15-point games for her, and she was 4 for 5 from the field. Incredibly efficient. Everyone else stepped up, got rebounds, played defense to ultimately get the 9-point win, sweeping the Sailfish this season. The Mocs will head back on the road, though, this Saturday, tomorrow, to take on Rollins College, who struggled this year, but still has showed that they can be dangerous any given night.
It was an interesting start to the 2026 campaign for the Mocs baseball team as they went to Pensacola and were swept by the UWF Argonauts. In those games, there were scores of 3-5, 2-3, and 8-13 in losses on Friday and Sunday. They came back to Lakeland and dominated Valdosta State by a mercy rule 10-0 win. Key components there were the pitching of Ty Bradle, who pitched 5 innings and allowed just 4 hits with no runs, obviously. And then offensively, Eric Harrison Jr. in his first game ever, a 2-run home run as well as a double to score an RBI. They'll go back to Lakeland and they will face the number 16 Young Harris College both today and tomorrow in a doubleheader at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern.
Both track teams continue to have a really successful indoor track season up in Gainesville at the Legends of Alachua County Invite. To start it off, we have to talk about the women who really excelled, especially on that first day of competition. To start it off, we'll start it off with the new school record holder. She has pretty much every record you could have for indoor track. Grace Reed, 5:02.25 for her. She finished 2nd overall in the race and got even closer to that 5 flat mile. After that, we saw the 5K where Reed stayed busy. She paced the 5K for the ladies and especially for the lovely Emma Pfeiffer, who picked up a huge PR, 30-second PR for her. She ran 17:42. And don't worry, there were other Mocs in that race too. Reagan Chambliss did really well as well, getting a huge PR from her high school time, running just above 18 minutes. Then, on the 2nd day of competition, we saw Caitlin Beery continue to inch her way closer to that school record in the 800 meters for indoors, running 2:20.87. You know, I can't just give the ladies all the love. The men also showed up and had a pretty good outing as well. We'll start with the 800 with the men, and Anthony Matthew, he set a new school record as he continues to chip away at his already program records, getting closer and closer to the national competition for indoors this year. After that, we'll talk a little bit about the 5K, where it was a huge outing for the Mocs. But first, let's talk about the mile. There was only one Moc in the mile, and that was freshman Skylar Jensen. He ran 4:21, a new PR for him, and I owe him a Gatorade for that as well. I told him if you get sub 4:22, you get whatever flavor you want, and I'm picking up a Glacier Freeze after this, but I'll get back to the 5K. The 5K was a great showing for the Mocs. We saw 2 guys dip under 15 for the first time in a long time. I'll start with Cole Summers, who has had an excellent career so far. Just don't tell him I said that as a mock. The junior found a way to really fight in a meet where he had to take it on himself. He found a way to push in that middle portion of the race before ultimately getting beat by his teammate, Michael 𝙏𝙀𝙀. 𝙏𝙀𝙀 may be a name you know if you followed Florida running the last few years, and maybe even the last decade, as someone who really was good as a high school runner at Vieira High School, where he was a state team champ, a state individual champ, and a state record holder. He ran a state record of below 15 minutes his senior year of high school, went to Florida State, where things just didn't work out. 𝙏𝙀𝙀 ran 14:44 for a huge PR, and you can see the image on your screen of him right after the race. It was an amazing feeling to be able to see 𝙏𝙀𝙀 finally be able to break through that barrier again. The Mocs have a lot left in their tank. They'll be heading right back up to Gainesville today, where there'll be a lot of guys racing the 800 all the way up to the 5K, as well as the ladies. Make sure to stay tuned to the final meets of the indoor season.
Men's basketball stumbled against Palm Beach Atlantic after sprinting out to a great start and was 5 minutes away from being head coach Mike Donnelly's 400th career win. To start the game, neither side could miss, and when they did, the offensive rebounds came in bunches, allowing both offenses to come up with 45 first-half points. Carl, what do you think about this?
Yeah, that first half we saw a lot from this Moxon team. It's what we've came to expect this year. Florida Southern is known for their offense, and that's why they've been one of the top offensive teams in the country the last 5 seasons with Coach Donnelly. One of the guys who was huge, Amari Miller, and he's been huge all year long. He's the leading scorer, leading rebounder, and he hit 500 rebounds in that game against Palm Beach Atlantic. You mentioned the offensive rebounds, and he's one of the guys that pulled those down. But in the second half, we saw the game shift completely. PBA found ways to slow down the Mocs offense, and PBA wasn't really hitting shots. Ultimately, though, the Mocs found their response up until that last 8 minutes of the game, turned it over, led to offense for PBA, and then once PBA got it, PBA ran away with it in the end. The Mocs tried to find a response. Brady Corso had a good start, got quiet, and then got another shot up with 5 minutes to go. That broke, or 1 minute to go, excuse me, after a 5-minute scoring drought. That broke that drought, but the efforts were just too little too late, and the Mocs ultimately fell down at PBA.
Yep, the Mocs will chase win number 400 tomorrow against their oldest rival, Rollins College, in a matchup in Winter Park.
Men's lacrosse opened up their season up in Winter Park against Rollins College, a team nationally ranked and a little bit higher than them in the conference preseason poll. In this season, the Mocs have really looked to continue to build through some of the strong returners, like guys like 𝙏𝙃𝙀𝙀 𝙀, a preseason All-American and last year's first-team All-American, as well as a number of all-conference second, first, and third teamers. Don't worry, they've gotten a few new additions after their 3-win season last year, and one of them made some big shots early on in the game, rattling off 2 goals in that first half, was true freshman Angus Walco. Assisting 3 of the goals the Mocs scored in that first quarter of action, Maddox Walton, the All-SEC second-teamer last year. The Mocs ended the first quarter up 3-1 before Rollins looked to respond. The Tars found 1 goal of their own before the Mocs got it back to a 1-goal lead, and then things went all the way back to Rollins. Rollins rattled off 7 unanswered goals in the third period of action. The Mocs just didn't have a response. Ultimately, it ended 12-5, the largest margin of defeat against Rollins in program history, and the Mocs' fewest goals scored against the Tars. But the Mocs are looking to continue to grow this season. In conversations I had preseason with head coach Marty Ward, he said this isn't going to be an immediate change, but this is going to be an improvement from last year, and they'll look to continue to show that improvement as they take on the number 5 team in the country in Wingate, at Wingate, this coming weekend. Tomorrow they will be playing them. The women's lacrosse team will be playing them on Sunday, so there will be a lot to look forward to for all the lacrosse fans. The biggest thing for the Mocs, they need to find some more of that offense, because when they can get those goals, they're really hard to stop with 𝙏𝙃𝙀 in the circle.
In breaking news this week, the Florida Southern Department of Athletics has hired new head volleyball coach Lauren 𝙏𝙃𝙀. In her time at Wingate University, she posted a staggering 90-9 record, not losing more than 4 games in a season through her 3 years. It was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of her resume, as it includes a laundry list of accolades, starting with her time at Florida Southern. Apart from leading Wingate to back-to-back South Atlantic Tournament championships in 2024 and 2025, 𝙏𝙃𝙀𝙀 is a 2-time SAC Coach of the Year and 2-time AVCA Southeast Region Coach of the Year. During her time as a Moc, 𝙏𝙃𝙀𝙀 and her team appeared in the NCAA tournament in 4 straight years, advancing to the regional semifinals each time. Additionally, she received the FSC Athletics Director Scholar Athlete Award for having the highest team GPA 3 years in a row as her time in a mock between 2012 and 2014. Lastly, she was also coached by moccasin legend Jill Stevens, the current Associate Athletic Director and Senior Women Administrator. We look forward to seeing Ďeković-led mocks next fall.
And we have a ton more to be excited about here for Florida Southern Athletics. Obviously, volleyball coming up in the fall, but we have a lot coming this weekend. We already touched on some of the sports. We also have hockey senior day tonight, softball coming up on the road, men's tennis taking on the #3 team in the country. There's a lot to get excited about here for Mocks and Sports, and there will be a lot more for the rest of the semester. Always make sure to stay tuned to the Snakebite. We'll miss you.